friends, this is Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Throwback Thursday and day 4 of Christmas in July. Today we're going to be making one of my favorite style of mini albums. I call this a stacked spine. Super easy, it looks super sharp. And we're going to be working with Prima's Christmas in the Country, which I think came out 3 or maybe 4 years ago. This is a really beautiful vintage collection. Lots and lots of homespun country images, and it's always been a favorite of mine. I bought an inordinate amount of it when it came out, so I thought, perfect for a mini album. So here's what we're making. How cute is this? This is a 5.5 by 7-inch mini album with a 1.5-inch spine, a shaker cover, so cute, and this is Reneabouquets printed beautiful. I just thought it went really well. A whole bunch of different flowers. Some are Prima, some are Little Birdie. I just kind of arranged them all in there with some houndstooth check, 3/8-inch houndstooth check. On the spine, I've got a wonderful vintage dangle charm, and here's the buffalo plaid on the black back cover. All right, so on the inside cover, we have a slash pocket with a little folio tucked inside for a couple of photos. Love this old barn. Here we have a really fun little waterfall page, just a 2-page waterfall, but room for a photo here, so you can get quite a few photos there. Then there's actually a hidden pocket here with some photo mats tucked inside. Then we flip the page and we've got a double tip-in page with little side pockets and room for lots of photos. These are great to use for journaling, and you can get pretty good sized photos on these pages. All right. And then you can see this is the biggest page, and this page is the same as this, and the pages get smaller and then they get bigger again. It's a really fun effect. So here's a fun little magnetic flip page. I'm going to show you how to put the magnets in. Here's a really wonderful pull-out page. You can see the pages are getting smaller, but still lots and lots of room for photos. I love the Christmas pig. When we lived in Atlanta, it was a big deal to go to Phipps Plaza and ride the pink pig at Christmas. It was just a tradition. So that's kind of fun to remember that. Then here we have a little pocket page with a little mini folio inside. And then over here, we've got a box pocket, and I did a handmade envelope with a belly band, which does come off. There we go. So this is just the prettiest paper, and I thought this would be a fun place to tuck in a note or journaling or little photos or mementos, that sort of thing. And then over here, we've got just a plain page because we can't, this is a thick page, as you can see, so I had to keep this kind of simple but beautiful paper and room for a photo. Then we've got a really fun kinetic waterfall page and a pop-up page, so fun. And then another little flip page. So you see they got small, then they got big. Back pocket has a couple of recipe cards tucked in there. So just a really sweet vintage style folio. And hang around because we're going to go ahead and build the base. I also went into my scrap bin and found some papers, some cardstock, and we're going to build this with a heavy grocery bag cover. This is 110-pound paper, so it's really heavy. This is 12.5 by 7, and you're going to put this on your scoring tool, and you're going to score it at 5 and 7. And this is our cover, and you can see how it's going to fold like this. Then I found a bunch of my natural cardstock that's also 110 pound. And page 1 of this is 11 3/4 inches by 6. And you're going to score this at 5 1/4 and 6 1/2. So you can see that this is a 1 1/4 inch spine, where this was a 1 1/2 inch spine. You know where we're going with this? So now this page is 11 by 6, and we're going to score this at 5 and at 6 for a 1-inch spine. And then the final page is a 12-inch piece, and we're going to score this at 2. We're going to score this at 6. We're going to score this at 6 3/4. We're going to score this at 10 3/4 and at 11. And this is going to give us a little shallow box pocket and a tip in over here. And this is in the center. So how do we, what's the binding system? Well, this is a design that I kind of figured out when I was on the Graphic 45 team. I had to come up with a 10-minute tutorial, and this is how I did it. So you can use score tape if you like. I like using my Dries Clear adhesive because it gives me wiggle room. So on page 3, we're going to put adhesive on the spine. And then we're going to bring in page 2. Make sure I have this right. Yep. And we're going to fold it like a book. And we're going to center this up so that it's right in the middle and straight. And then we're just going to burnish that down. So see, here's this, and here's this. So then we bring in, we put our adhesive on the spine of page 2. And we bring in page 1, fold it like a book. Center up our spine. Press it down. And now we have this. And I always like to go through and burnish all the pages down so that everything opens up nicely. But that's pretty simple. Now this one is a little bit trickier because you have to center. It's not hard, you just have to pay attention to what you're doing. So we know that this is 6, we know that this is 7, and this is what I do to help me do that. I bring in my ruler and I mark a 1/2 inch on each side. And then I come down here and I mark a 1/2 inch. And that's just going to help me center top and bottom. Centering side to side is easy, as you saw. Top and bottom can be a little bit more tricky, but not hard if you use your little pencil marks. So I'm going to line this up here. And here. Make sure I'm straight. And just give yourself time to do this. There's no hurry. All right. Yes, perfect. So now we burnish this down. So now you've got this great little mini album. Okay, let's do our covers. And from the 12 by 12, I've cut a 6 7/8 square, and I've scored this at 1 3/8 and 1 1/2 inches. And that's just to help me round the corner as I put the cover on. And then for the back, I have also a 6 7/8 inch square. This one I've only scored at 1 1/2 inches from the right hand side. So I'm actually going to put the back cover on first. I'm making sure I get adhesive on my spine. I'm actually going to start by putting my spine down, just like this. Then round the corner, line it up, and burnish it down. All right, so that worked very well. Now for the front, we're going to do the same thing. Again, I'm going to start with my spine. I'm going to line this up. And see how that helped it round the spine with no issues. Sometimes that's just really helpful to do. It gives you just that little extra bit. So burnish this down really well. Okay, so far so good. Now on the inside, on the front cover, I've cut a 5 1/4 by 6 3/4 inch piece. This is from the A4 pad. Like I told you, I have this paper in every size. I'm just going to glue this down. And then I found another scrap of this buffalo plaid, which I just love. And I cut this to 5 3/4, and it ended up being 5 3/8. I scored a 1/2 inch along the bottom, a 1/2 inch along the side. And I need to find my scissors. There we go. And I'm just going to cut the corner like that, so that it will round nicely. See how it folds in and makes a neat corner. I'm going to bring in my cutting tool, and I'm going to come over to 1 1/2 here and up 1 1/2 here. I don't know if you can see this. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to cut. And now we've made a slash pocket. And this is going to go right here. So we'll just glue this down. And you can see I left the branding strip on the bottom of this. Even though it has the hanger hole, it doesn't matter. No one's ever going to see that. And it doesn't affect the integrity of the pocket, so I don't worry about it. And for the back cover, I found this scrap and trimmed it to 5 1/4 inches. We're just going to glue this down. And I'm piecing paper here this time. So I'm trying to use up scraps. You know, this is one of those projects. Okay. And then I found another piece. This one is 5 3/8, I believe. Yes. So this is 5 1/4 by about 5. It's just a scrap, and this is 5 3/8 by 5. And I scored this at 3 and folded to form a pocket. And I put my little gussets on my pocket. We're going to glue this down. And it's a little wider than the piece above, but it actually looks pretty neat. So just burnish that down. So now we've got our covers done. Okay guys, let's start working on the basics of putting these pages together. I decided I want to line these white pages with craft. I just like how it matches up with the base. So it'll also make the pages extra sturdy. This makes a really, really sturdy page. So then on this front page, I chose this cute Santa Claus reindeer and stocking. This is from the 6x6 pad. And I put gussets on the back because I want to turn this into a little photo pocket page. So I'm just trimming out these corners. You can see I've added my gussets. So I've just done gussets like we always do our gussets. I'm just going to put my adhesive down. Center this up and adhere it on our front cover, which is easier said than done. There we go. There we go. All right. And then I've cut 2 4 1/4 by 5 photo cards to go inside our little pocket like this. So there's room for photos there. And then I went into my 4x6 journal cards and I took 2 of them. I trimmed them to a height of 5 1/2 and scored a 1/2 inch flap along the top. And I re-rounded the corners on the bottom. And we're going to turn this into a little mini waterfall. It's only got 2, but it gives you room for photos. So if you've never done this before, you just line the bottom edge up, the folded edge of the one on the bottom up with the cut edge of the one on the top. And then make sure they're straight, which they are. And then to dress up the front page, I have this little scrap of buffalo plaid that picks up on the pocket over here. That's just a little design tip. And then I've got this cute Santa image that matches the image on the bottom page. So now we've got a little waterfall. Photo here, photo here. So 4 photos and then 2 more in the pocket. So that's pretty good. And we're going to turn the page. This page is the same size as the preceding page. So we're going to go ahead, glue this down. This is the same size as the craft on the other side. And this makes I'm really liking this because this makes really heavy, sturdy pages. They feel almost like chipboard, so I'm loving that. All right. And then from, I think this was the 8-inch. No, this is the 6-inch. And I trimmed this to 5 3/4. And then on the left, I scored it right at 1 inch. And this is going to glue down. And if you like using the barnwood better, you can. Glue this down. Then I went into my 4x6 journal cards again, and I found this sweet, sweet little deer and wreath, which kind of goes along with the reindeer that were on the previous page. And I trimmed this down to 5 3/4, I believe, yes. And I'm going to add this to our little flap, but we're only going to put our adhesive at the top, at the bottom, and on the left-hand side, like this. Now we're going to lay our image down. Oops. Okay. And when we flip this page out, this becomes a pocket. And we can put a couple of 3x4 journal cards in there. It's not okay. Now we're going to get over here to this page, which measures 5 by 6. I took a piece of my A4 paper and I trimmed it to 6 inches wide by 5 3/4 inches tall, and then I scored it at 4 3/4. And this is going to make our little flap, so we'll have a double tip-in page here. Oops, I thought I had glued that down, but I hadn't. That's funny. Okay. And then for our tip-in, I took another 4x6 and trimmed it down just like we did last time. And then re-rounded the corners. And then again, we're just going to put our adhesive on the top, the outside edge, and the bottom. And glue that down, and then you can come back and add whatever journal card you want to add to this little pocket. So that's that page. So these are the same. How fun is that? Actually, let's put one card in here, and let's put one card in here, and that works really well. Okay, next page. For this page, I cut a 4 3/4 by 12-inch piece of our buffalo plaid, and we're going to glue this down to our base page, like this. Only straight is good. Okay. Then go into your 12 by 12 and find this Christmas exhibition, that's hard to say, and cut that out. And we're going to mat it on a piece of craft, but before I glue it down, I want to take a magnet. So see how this page comes down? I want this magnet to be, well, only centered. Well, it'll be fine. On the bottom, and I'm going to put a little piece of tape over it to hold it in place. Then I found a little scrap that's wide enough to cover it. And we're going to put this down sort of like a belly band on the bottom to break up all that buffalo plaid, but also it helps to hide our magnet. So just like that. Cut my craft paper to measure 3 5/8 by 4 5/8. And I'm going to glue this down on my top flap like this. Now I'm going to take my other magnet and see how it went right to the magnet that's beneath it. I'm going to put a little piece of tape over the top of that. And now I can glue my image down. Just like that. So now we have this nifty magnetic flap page, and you can add words or whatever. You've got room for a picture here. You could put plain paper in here for journaling, but that's just kind of a fun feature. This next page, we're going to make a little pull-out element. This is really fun. It gives us lots and lots of room for photos. So I want you to take a 12 by 12 sheet of your cardstock, and I want you to cut it into two 12-inch by, this is 5 5/8 inches. And then you're going to score it every, hold on, I'm trying to make sure I'm telling you right. Yes, every 3 3/4 inches. And when you get done, you'll have like an inch flap left on the end. Just cut that off and then accordion fold. All right. And then I've lined every other panel with a 3 1/2 by, I want to say it's 5 1/2. Yes, 3 1/2 by 5 1/2. So this is lined. This is lined. The front cover has this cute little pig. And then in here, I've taken the images here to go with the buffalo plaid. So before I glued this onto my base page, I glued a ribbon on the back. This is a 3/8 inch houndstooth check. And we're just going to tie a little bow. And there's our little pull-out page. Super cute and easy to do. All right. Now we're going to flip this page, and this is going to be, this is just a gusseted pocket. So I've already added my gussets because this tutorial is getting long, people. It's getting very, very long. And this is a 3-inch by 5 3/4 inch scrap. And to go in the pocket, I just took one of the little 3x4s, matted it on a scrap, and made a little mini folio to go in there. So that brings us over here to our box pocket page. This has a little 1/4 inch spine. So what I did was I took 1 1/4 inch wide paper by just under 1 inch tall, and I scored it a 1/2 inch and at 3/4 of an inch to make the little sides for our pocket. So I'll just show you how we add these on. You're going to line the score line up. I'm just getting everything straight. and then put your adhesive on the top. And then I like to come in with a bone folder, and I apologize, I have a little summer cold going on here, so my voice is messed up, but I don't feel bad, I just sound horrible. It's just a little summer cold. And all right, there we go. So this would be a fun place if you wanted to add in like some Christmas tea bags or something like that. You could do that. And then you're going to line this with your designer papers. And we'll just move on to the next page. Now we're going to make a little kinetic waterfall. So I want you to find lighter weight craft paper that is similar in color. And you're going to cut two 3 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch pieces. On one of them, you're going to score 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2 inch score lines. Then you're going to take this top flap, put a little adhesive on it, and wrap it around the top edge of the other panel. So we'll call this the top panel, we'll call this the bottom panel, okay? So the scored panel is on the top, the unscored panel is on the bottom, excuse me, sorry. All right. If you have the 6x6, you should have some of these little 1 1/2 by 2 images. Find one of these, fold it in half, and I used a crocodile to shape the corners. Oops, let's center it. Oops. This is going to be our little pull tab. So glue that down first. Now look in your scraps of patterned papers and cut a 3 1/8 inch by 4. And glue it down like this. Now I have I guess it's about 1 inch by 4 1/2 inch, and I've scored 5/8 of an inch on each side. Close both panels. Wrap this around so that these little tabs are on the front. And don't do these too tight. You want to, this is going to be how your card slides. And then once you've done that, you can come in with this little piece, just a little scrap, to kind of cover that up. So now you can see how this moves, right? The next step is to cut 3 1/8 by 4 1/2 panels of that lightweight cardstock. Now come in with your craft cards, and you're going to put adhesive on this back flap. And you're going to adhere it just above each scored line. right, so now see, you pull this and they go up and down. I'm just going to burnish these down really well. Now come in with your images and you can adhere your images to each flap. And this one we're just going to do like this. Okay, so this is what we have. See? To install this, bring in your page, center this, and you only put adhesive on this band. Center it up. Now you pull your little pull tab. I'm being real ginger right now because the glue hasn't set. But once that glue sets, this will work beautifully. Okay guys, now we're going to make this little pop-up element. I'll just show you. There's our lateral waterfall. That page is blank, and I made a little envelope to tuck into our pocket here. So that was kind of fun. All right, so this is 10 1/4 by 2 1/2. And we are just going to fold it. This is so easy. This is one of the easiest pop-ups there is. Fold this in half. And you score it. Then you bring this back to the fold. And you burnish it. And then you bring this back to the fold and you burnish it. So now you've got this W shape. You see that? And we're going to adhere. I want it down toward the bottom. I just put a little glue right here. I'm going to put it right here. Well, not that low. Right there. And then I'm going to put it right here. Making sure I'm straight. And you want the bumping out part of your W right there. Wipe up this little glue smudge. All right, and then you just close it, all right? And burnish well. So now we'll find some elements to glue on here. Line each of your squares with a 2 3/8 inch square of patterned paper, and then cut out from the A4 pad some images. And when you glue these down, you're just going to put your adhesive across the middle like this, because otherwise you glue your page shut, which is not cool at this point. So there you go. There's a fun little pop-up page. Last page. The back page, I just did another little flip element and added this here, put a couple recipe cards in the pocket. There's our pop-up element, super cute. And then in the front, I just took a piece of paper and folded it in half to make a very simple portfolio, put this barn and a Let It Snow title here. So now we're going to add our ribbon closure, and you're going to need 1/4 inch score tape, and find the middle. And go right around the album. Burnish this down. This turned out so pretty. I really like this. Okay, pull back your tape. Leave a long enough tail to tie a bow. You can always trim shorter, but you can't make it longer, so I like to always give myself a little extra. Right around the spine. Around the back. I'll trim those tails, and that takes care of that. So I like the black and white houndstooth with this. I think it works well with the buffalo plaid. And I didn't want to do anything like uber bright or anything. All right, so then I want to make a shaker front. This is going to be real simple, just our shaker element. So I cut this 4x6 panel from our paper collection. And I debated, did I want to go with the barn? Did I want to go? But I was like, oh, let's just do Santa Claus. It's okay. Put this on the cover, and I'm going a little over, I'm slightly off center to the right. And that's how I can add flowers on the left. I just want to make sure I'm straight here. Burnish that down really good. All right, and I went into my stash of frames and I found this older Tim Holtz. I think these were actually Christmas. I think you put these out one Christmas, but I don't remember for sure. I just know they were Tim Holtz, but you can do any frame. And I've got 3 rows of foam tape. I've got some of these little ephemera bits left. These little Christmas stars. I always like to start with them facing the right direction because that can change. All right, so there's that. Then this is actually a fall collection. It has apples in it, but if I pull out the apples and I just use the sequins and the buttons, it's beautiful for Christmas. And some people do apples at Christmas too, so you could leave those in and it wouldn't be the end of the world. Then I have these really cute candy canes that I got last year from Buttons Galore. Let's put some of these pretty sparkly bits in there. And these Christmassy sequins. Okay. And then let's put some of these little Christmas candy bits in there just for fun. And those are snowflakes. All right, that is plenty. I'm going to push these all into the center. I'm going to bring in my frame. There, and press it down. Look how cute. That's pretty doggone adorable. All right. Guys, let's see if we can get this finished up. I went through my stash of Christmas flowers. A lot of these are old. They're like old Prima, old little birdie. But this is Throwback Thursday. So you can go through your stash and see what you can find. The first thing I want to add is this beautiful board piece from Reneabouquets. This stunning vintage Santa. And I want to make sure that I get on these really delicate pieces, I want to get some adhesive down there. Just to okay. And I want this right at the bottom. Just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to come in with a couple of leaves. These are old Prima. These are from their Victorian Christmas. So if you have that in your stash somewhere, you can probably pull that out. But I want one here. I want one down on my book. These are Prima Christmas in the Country. So I think we'll use these. I'm just gonna floof this up a little bit. Reneabouquets elements, these snowflake elements that I painted with my Stamperia glamour gel. I can never remember the name of this one. It's like Winter Frost or Winter White or something like that. This one's going to go right here on the top. All right. And then I've got a smaller one to go over here on the side, like that. All right, guys, I think that does it. I think we're done. I'll probably do a dangle charm on the spine, but there you go. You've got the basics of how to build the base. And this is such a great basic mini album. I mean, you can, my goodness, you can use this with anything, any season, any theme, and just change up your papers and your embellishments and you're good to go. So that is it. This is a huge Throwback Thursday. This ought to hold you all the way to Tuesday of next week when I'll be back with another little Christmas in July tutorial. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to go get my craft on. Bye.